I wish that I had the courage and the strength to say, hey, this is enough, and to see what they were doing and stop it. I don't know why I didn't. I know I was only 17, but if I could change it, I think I would do it now. Missy was small, petite, cute, pretty. Karen was taller, heavier. She wasn't as attractive as Missy was. Karen always just would watch her and just try to act like her. I mean, she tried to act like Missy a lot. Karen had invited me to her grandmother's house for dinner. And I didn't know where her grandmother lived. We ended up by Stonehurst Park, and at one point she said, look, there's Laura and Missy. And I said, where? She pointed over there. And she said that she goes, I'm going to mess with them. And she drove her car. She drove up to the side of their car. Karen started to yell and scream and say names to Laura. And Laura started to say names back to Karen. They were just calling each other a bitch, and I'm going to, you know, beat your butt, and no, I'm going to beat yours. They went on like they really hated each other.
In reality, Karen and Laura weren't fighting. It was all a bizarre charade designed by Karen to frighten Missy. With Missy and Eva trapped in the passenger seat, the girls drove out of the city and up into the mountains in a mad car chase.
Wait, they're going too fast. Shut!
See Missy asking Laura, like, why are you doing this, or why don't you just turn around, why are we going this way? And I could see and then I could see her going like this on the door, you know, and then she'd go like this. Missy was obviously afraid. She knew something.
The two cars raced through the desolate and spectacular wilderness of the Angeles National Forest. They pulled into a remote parking lot where Karen and Laura suddenly turned on Missy.
You're the bitch around here. I
really?
had it with you.
Oh, really? Let's talk
Yeah,
about that. You're
I
about
have
this far from getting your ass kicked.
What are you
guys stop it?
I just remember them turning to Missy and saying, we're not really mad at each other, you know, we're pissed at you, and this is all a joke, you know, and Missy started to cry. I mean, she started to cry, literally, and the girls had started telling her about all these guys that she had slept with. They started naming off boys' names that she had slept with, and this is why that she's mad, this is why they are mad at her. I mean, this hurts me to this day. At one point, she looked up, and she looked up at me, and she said, the worst thing you guys can do to me is leave me here.
Or widely.
I don't know why she looked at me.
She looked at you for help.
But,
Come on, Missy.
they told her to get up, that we were going to go for a walk.
No.
Laura and Karen marched Missy down to the banks of the Big Tujunga Creek.
They made her sit down, and they started walking around her. They started again to name off guys that she had slept with and their boyfriends, that they'd slept with their boyfriends, and didn't you? They'd say, didn't you? And she wasn't saying anything. She was crying the whole time. Laura had walked out into the creek. She walked through there, and she slid her fingers through the water.
Yes,
She
Molson
said,
man, they
"Come out here,
did.
Missy, the water's not so deep." And Karen's telling her to go out there, and Missy wasn't going to move. The last thing I remember is Laura grabbing Missy by the wrist and throwing her out to the water, and I had started to freak out.
Eva was terrified. She ran back to the cars, but they were locked. She didn't know what to do. She headed back to the creek.
I started to run back towards the barricade, and I heard a scream. No! I heard a scream so loud, and I just froze. I froze. I could not go back down that hill. And I sat down between both the cars, and I was just sitting there rocking back and forth. And it seemed like 2 hours that I sat there and waited.
They
Eva
nailed this
waited
part
for
in the
three
movie,
girls
too.
to come up from the creek, but only 2 came back. On the way down the mountain, Laura confirmed Eva's very worst fears.
We killed her.
She's laughing, and she's crying, and she's saying, ha ha ha, we killed Missy. And then she'd say, oh my God, we killed Missy. And then she'd go, but maybe we did it. And then she slams on the brake. Maybe I should go back. And I go, no, just keep going, keep going.